Nothing gives comfort quite the way a quilt does.
And we've got some great ideas for charity quilts and a special guest for you.
Hi, it's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Café.
Quilters like you have such big hearts, and you tell us that you use the 3-yard quilts for charity quilts all the time. We are so grateful for that.
Now, we have a great relationship with QT Fabrics. They've partnered with Quilts for Kids. Quilts for Kids is an organization that donates quilts to children in need.
And Quilting Treasures QT Fabrics did a special line called Delightful Dreams. Now, Delightful Dreams was designed by Josie, a 13-year-old, when she was going through cancer treatment. Sadly, Josie has passed away. But QT Fabrics is donating 50% of all proceeds of this line to the Quilts for Kids.
Now, we were blown away by QT's generosity, and we wanted to do our part. So we have built some kits using the Delightful Dreams fabric, so that you too can participate in donating to Quilts for Kids. But first, we have a special interview with the founder of Quilts for Kids. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Donna.
It's so good to have you on our program and to introduce you to our wonderful viewers. This is Linda Ayre, and we are so excited to be talking with you today.
And Linda is with Quilts for Kids. It's a great organization that accepts donations for children in cancer treatment. Is that correct?
We take care of children from birth through age 22 with life-threatening illnesses, abuse, poverty, all the natural disasters, war, you name it, and we're there. So yes, cancer and a lot more.
And a lot more. Wow, that's wonderful.
Well, Linda, we have viewers that love making quilts and donating them to worthy causes. And I know you are one of them. Would you tell us more about your organization?
Sure. Quilts for Kids started as a result of my discovering fabric that was going into landfill at a design center. And it bothered me so much, I kept going around to all the showrooms and saying, if you'll donate the fabric samples and the yardage to me, we'll make quilts for kids in need. And that's how the name Quilts for Kids was created. I just wanted to keep fabric from landfill. I had no idea, I figured, in a year I would take care of the problem. Haha, that didn't happen. There's a lot of fabric that goes to landfill. So we take donations from individuals who are not sewing any longer, but have brightly colored, kid-oriented or pastel cotton.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. So you kind of mentioned that you were maybe in another industry before you started Quilts for Kids. Were you a quilter at all?
I was not a quilter. I was a designer. And the funniest thing was when my 97-year-old aunt was cleaning out her house, she asked me to go in her closet and pull out an old, like a Yellow Pages. And here on Sansom Street in downtown Philadelphia, my great-grandmother had a quilt shop.
Oh, how
nobody
funny.
ever told me about.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It just comes back around, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And now I am a quilter.
A little thing from my past is that my great-grandmother was an avid quilter, and she actually lived on Threadneedle Street down in Beaumont, Texas, or someplace like that. And so it was just a really big surprise to me when I found out that I had quilting in my background, because nobody else in my family quilted.
Yeah, I guess that means I have quilting in my background as well.
Absolutely. So you're great.
Or Fran, somebody generations from now is going to go back and go, my great-great-auntie or cousin was with, and then we'll be talking about you.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. That's kind of interesting to think about.
Absolutely. So you have donated so many quilts. Can you tell us a little bit more about the importance of the quilts and the impact that makes on the children?
I didn't realize when I started the charity that there would be an impact. But it's been amazing having those very quiet, private moments when you go into the hospital to hand the quilt off to a child. Oftentimes the mother or the father is there and they haven't had anybody to talk to and they're worried. Oh. And it's amazing because just one short story of a little girl I could hear screaming and found out that she had had a transplant and she was in a lot of pain and she was about 5. Oh. And we started talking about, I started to tell her a story very quietly because I remember if you all babysat, we were supposed to speak quieter than the screaming child because if we screamed louder, they'd scream louder. So I went in very quietly and told her this story about this quilt. And then it was magical. And when I put in, and her whole room was pink, and I had a school group with me that were avid quilters, teenage girls. And when I asked, did anybody make a pink quilt? They brought one over and I put it on her. And the nurse is standing in the doorway listening to the story that I was telling. And all of a sudden, the little girl went to sleep. The father starts crying like I had never experienced a father wailing like that. So I pull him outside. And of course, I thought I'd done something wrong. And I apologized. And he said, no, you don't understand. We've been here for 2 months and I haven't seen her sleep and I haven't seen her smile. What the heck do you put into your quilts?
Wow. And a lot of love.
And the nurse was standing in the doorway, not wanting to interrupt, but she had the morphine bag that she was going to hang. And she said, but you don't understand, this kid hasn't slept on her own in months. And that's when I knew what the power of these quilts were, and that it had nothing to do with me, because if I wasn't a quilter at that time, and if I made a quilt, it wouldn't be good enough to give to that child. I've gotten much better. But my point being that we've all had bad days and we want to pull the covers over us. Well, these kids are the same thing. And all that love that these volunteer quilters put into those quilts really does shine through, apparently.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's just one story to show you. Wow. What we do, well, really globally, because our quilts have gone everywhere.
Yeah. Wow. So Linda, your quilts are obviously full of that love. Are there any other, like what kinds of quilts do you accept? Are there things that you don't want to? Are there certain criteria that you prefer?
So we want to give the children things that they like. And there's a lot of kids who aren't doing sports anymore because they're unfortunately in the hospital. Mm-hmm. We always look for crib size or lap size, something that's rectangular. If they're getting chemo or other treatment and they're cold, they can wrap it around them. So you don't want a square. About one width of fabric by about 45 to 52 inches long. Okay. And if they have any larger quilts that have not been used, they can send them to us because we work with an organization called Beds for Kids. They supply a mattress to children who are sleeping on a concrete or dirt floor, and we provide the larger quilts. So that's been a great partnership for us.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So you've kind of covered the typical quilts, but are there specific styles or themes of quilts that you're looking for?
Well, quiltsforkids.org. If you go on there, you'll see some real easy patterns. Mm-hmm. We also have pre-cut quilt kits that anybody that's an experienced quilter can request. They are free. We just ask that people pay to have them shipped and pay to ship them back and have them done within a month to 6 weeks, because there really is a child on the other end waiting for it. What we like is when people make quilts out of their own stash, that is the pattern that they like, that is not just, for us, we have to do a 4-patch or rail fence or a 9-patch, something that's relatively easy for volunteers to do. But some of the quilts that come in are, beyond our imagination. So we love when that happens.
So Linda, We love QT, and we know you do a lot of collaboration with QT. They're a wonderful fabric company. Can you tell us a little bit more about the new line of Delightful Dreams fabric that they're coming out with?
Absolutely. QT has been involved with us for a while, and it has done several fabric lines for us. But this year, they came to us and said, Josie would like to do a fabric line to benefit us. QT has a salesman who had cancer and spoke with QT about another salesman whose daughter had been battling cancer treatments for a very long time. And at the time she was 12, and her name was Josie. And she's very effervescent. No matter what she went through, she kept a positive attitude. She was there to uplift you. And we had sent her a quilt. And then when she was feeling a bit better, I asked, Josie, do you want quilts to give to the kids on your unit? And she said yes. And she went in every room and she handed out quilts to all the other kids in the room. And I have to say, our quilters are really our heroes, because this happens globally, and we couldn't do it without them. But we also need fabric companies to join us and to create fabric lines so that we can afford to send all these beautiful quilts to children's hospitals across the country. So QT and Tiffany from QT got together with Josie, and Josie was very creative, drew these beautiful painting-like pictures, and very brightly colored, happy, not just kid-oriented. Anybody can use it for any project. QT said, how about if we give 50%, that's 50%, to Quilts for Kids, which has never been done in this industry.
Oh, wow.
This is really the first. So I am so blessed as the founder of this organization to have them on our side. This charity can do so much with the funds that will come in from this. And I tell it's called Delightful Dreams. And Josie actually got to see the fabric, touch the fabric, and she passed away about a month or so ago. And it's the hardest thing I have ever experienced, because I was fortunate. I was the mom in the hospital, so I knew what it was like to have a child in the hospital, and I was afraid, but I didn't lose my child. This fabric line is her legacy. How fabulous would it be if all the stores that we all know, we went into and said, please carry the Delightful Dreams fabric line that will benefit Quilts for Kids, because QT isn't making a nickel, not even a penny on this. They are doing it because they felt that it was the right thing to do, both for Josie and for Quilts for Kids, who they've been partnering with for quite a while now. And I want this fabric line to be in all the stores. There's so much we can do. And anybody watching, I would say, you have the power. If you're not even a quilter, you have the power to let somebody who is know to go into their quilt shop and ask for QT's Delightful Dreams fabric line, so that it can directly benefit the charity Quilts for Kids, so that we can help create quilts and send them to children's hospitals and other places across the country and across the globe.
That's fabulous, Linda. That's a great story. I really love hearing about that. And I have seen the fabric. It is so much fun. What a legacy that Josie is leaving, and how much support you have given Josie and everyone, all of the children. So if someone wanted to donate to Quilts for Kids, how do they do that?
First of all, quiltsforkids.org. Our address is there, and they can make a quilt and send it in. Please put it through a washer and dryer cycle before you send it, so that it is ready immediately to go out the door. Or go in, I'm sitting in our holding room, which is a magical room. Oftentimes I'll come in here and I'll look up to the heavens and go, I need a quilt that has a turtle on it. I'll close my eyes and I'll pull it out and
Oh, wow.
9 out of 10 times I got a turtle in my hand. So this really is a magical place. And all of you watching are the magicians, because you really do make kids feel better. And we say that with your quilts, we're able to turn tears to smiles.
Oh.
So keep doing what you're doing. We also have chapters across the country. Maybe you want your quilt to stay in your community. Go to quiltsforkids.org, click on how to help, scroll down to the list of all the states that we have chapters in, and support the chapter closest to you.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Linda, so much for spelling that out so that we can be sure to donate either in our area or directly to you. And we really appreciate your time today. Everything that your organization is doing, the story of Josie and the other kids, very touching. It's very heartwarming. And thank you very much.
Well,
absolutely.
Before we sign off, I want to say thank you to you, because it truly does take beyond a village to make this difference. And you are getting the word out. And because of your commitment, we can touch many more lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Now, this is our Affinity pattern from the Make It Easy book. And this is a great one for donation quilts or charity quilts because it's so super fast. It's all put together with strip piecing. And we have a nice big area here for some fun fabric, kind of like Delightful Dreams. And then we have a fun block here that's got a little peekaboo of that special fabric right there. And this is going to go together quick. It's got lots of movement. Your eye's going to travel across and you're going to have it made in no time. Let's get it on the table and check it out with that fabric. Don't you just love this?
I do. It just exudes happiness and joy.
Yes.
And kind of carefree.
I think you're right. And so when we look at our focus fabric that we've placed here, it's all of these rainbow of colors, which I love. I love all of those rich colors. And all of these fun, energetic swirls on the fabric, which is just, it's so youthful and fun and playful. And I really, really love it. So it is our focus fabric, which is going to go in this big rectangle here, as well as a little on the border. Now our number 2 fabric. Now, once again, it just shows the playfulness. I love this.
So they're stars, but they're just kind of freeform stars.
Yeah. It's just so light and happy. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're doing charity quilts, happy is definitely what we're going for. Mm-hmm. So this is going to go in the background here. And then our number 3 fabric, this really pretty pink. And I think the pink is the perfect combination with both the focus and the number 1. And it's going to go everywhere you see the pink here. It is really a full of joy quilt. And this is going to go together super fast. And I think Josie would be proud.
I think so too. And somehow looking at the fabric brings such joy. I just know that her feeling of joy and expression when she created this fabric is going to go along with the quilt.
I agree, and I think any child would be happy to receive this quilt. The focus fabric of that big rectangle is just beautiful. That pink gives us that pop of extra stable color there, so your eye travels across the surface of the quilt, joining those blocks beautifully. I think it turned out so, so nice.
I think so too. Now, Affinity is from the book Make It Easy with 3-Yard Quilts. And if you're looking for great books that have wonderful patterns for donation quilts, our top 3 are Make It Easy, Easy Peasy, and Quilts for Kids. Now, the quilt behind us is the Topsy-Turvy pattern from the kids' book. And you can build your own book bundle on our website.
Let's get the kit information on this one. It is called Sweet Swirls, and it is our Affinity pattern from the Make It Easy book.
Now, the next quilt is Levity, and I named it that because I was just so high and happy whenever I got this one designed. It was so super simple. It's a 1 block, and it's done with strip piecing. Now, this one has a really cool tip for you when you're placing your fabrics. It works absolutely the best if you get high contrast for your number 3 and your number 2 fabric, and then get a fun focus fabric on the top. So it makes it look like this is floating on the air, the same way you'll feel when you make it. Now this is another kind of a colorway of the fabrics where you had the stars with the white background. Now you're going to have it with this mottled blue and green. That is so pretty.
It is so pretty.
And I really do find this to be very happy fabric. Now, this particular one is our number 1. And remember, I said you want your number 1 fabric or your focus fabric to be in this position because you want your other colors to fall to the back and make it look like that these are like floating on the surface of the quilt. So that's our number 1 fabric. Our number 2 fabric is going to be the background. So that's going to be everywhere you see the lighter color. And then the number 3 fabric is this dark blue, and that just looks gorgeous together, doesn't it?
It really does.
But there's still contrast
Yes.
there. That's cool.
Perfect.
So that's going to go everywhere you see this teal color in this area. And let's look at that image and talk about that. Now, is that not fun?
It does look like it's floating. Those blocks are floating on there. I love the color combination too.
And I do too. I think it's great. And I love the way that the blocks turn each way because if they're floating, they're not going to stay all static. They're going to move around up there on the surface.
And you know, it has that playful energy just like Josie's fabric. So I think it's perfect.
Absolutely. I think so too.
Now, we want to do our part. I know that QT is being very, very generous, so we certainly want to participate as well. So whenever you purchase one of Josie's kits from our website, we will be donating 10% of the sales to Quilt for Kids. So that's a way that we can also participate and help support Quilts for Kids and children like Josie.
So the name of this kit is Bright Stars. It's the Levity pattern from Make It Easy with 3-yard quilts. We want to thank QT for their generous contribution to Quilts for Kids and for letting us be a part of this wonderful opportunity to spread love.
Also would like to thank Linda for the time that she took to visit with us and sharing a little bit more about the organization Quilts for Kids. Now, if you would like to see more ideas for great patterns for charity quilts, be sure to check out the video that pops up. It's Fran Morgan
And Donna Robertson with Fabric Café.
Thank you for quilting.